Welcome to a new Real Estate Roadmap podcast. My name is Chris Cusimano, and I have my buddy back. He was on a few months ago, Ryan Smith. Ryan, say hi to the people.
Hello, welcome. Happy post Thanksgiving for you guys. We're up in Canada, so we've celebrated a long time ago. But yeah, I'm looking forward to being here
What do you mean you celebrate? Hold on. In Canada, you celebrate Thanksgiving when?
in October.
That's interesting. But it's
Yeah,
it's a quote unquote American holiday. So what's the reason for that in Canada?
we have a similar, just it's Day of Thanks, so it's our Thanksgiving. It's not nearly the same spectacle that the U.S. has, so it's very very different. But yeah,
Yeah, we get the whole week off. Well, yeah. So if you are listening to this, obviously we're doing this right after Thanksgiving break, and it was funny during the break. And yeah, during the break, Ryan and I were kind of texting back and forth because we both have coaching programs, and we were just kind of talking through it. And he asked me, if I was doing any Black Friday deals on it, and I wasn't for a particular reason, which makes me. Well, we'll get to in a second. But Ryan, why'd you ask? I'm actually curious.
I was actually co-promoting some other people's Black Friday events through mine too. So I did like a page for Black Friday promotions from people that I like and trust, and just wanted to see if you were doing anything to get the word out there.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So the answer I gave Ryan, and I think we're going to talk about in today's podcast for real estate agents or anyone who's just interested in this, is I said no. And I think you further asked about my trip to Vegas. I went to Alex Hormozi, Leila Hormozi headquarters, acquisition.com in Vegas for a couple of days for business coaching and consultant. And he was asking about that. And that was ironically why I wasn't really pushing the coaching stuff too hard, because they made a really good point there. A couple good points, a lot of good points. I got endless notes. Actually, here's my binder here, right?
That's awesome.
Endless good notes on it. And one of the things that they said for me was that, and they're being very honest, that I lost my focus in my actual real estate business. And they are 100% right. Not that I lost my focus, but when you running a coaching course and group coaching and all that is incredibly time consuming. And I love it, but I had to scale back some of the things I was doing in there and really focus on the real estate side of things. And it kind of was like, okay, I can't do Black Friday deals. I can't do, a ton of other extra perks that we're doing. We're still having the coaching. In fact, we're still doing the one-on-one coachings. We're still doing the Tuesday group coaching calls and all that. And all that stuff. But all the stuff on top of that was taking up a lot of my time. And they said that's the biggest reason why they made a point, and I could share it with everyone here, is that my real estate business has been making revenues around 1 to 1.2 million for the past 5 years and been flat. Ironically, that's when I started the coaching program. They're like, Chris, don't you see the correlation? Is that the extra time that you thought you had, you put it into another business before continuing to scale your business. So like, why don't you spend as much time on your real business running a real estate team? And then when it gets to 5 million, 6 million, 10 million, then dive full into the coaching, because it's a lot stronger leg to stand on. It says you do a $10 million real estate business than a $1 million real estate business. I'm like, that's a good point. What are your thoughts on that, Ryan?
I think that's very true. That's also kind of what I'm doing in reverse with my business. I'm doubling down on my coaching because of the lack of focus, and I need to put all my eggs in one basket, if you will, and do the same, because I'm kind of spreading myself out with different programs, different things, and it's like narrowing down really what I'm offering, what I'm doing too. So I think focus is huge, and that's what you and I were chatting about, is that that's the critical thing. And that's, the longer I'm in this business and the longer I see other agents' business, focus is so important. And this is like tying it back to real estate. I see so many agents, even within this business, where they're trying to be all things in the business. They're trying to do commercial, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that. And it's like, staying hyper focused until you build that solid foundation is critical across the board, no matter what business you're in.
Yeah, and when I went to when I went and met with the Hormozi team out there, the acquisition team, it wasn't like they said, well, there were things I didn't know, to be fair, but it wasn't like they said all these things that were new. Oftentimes we don't need to be taught new things. We need to be reminded of the things we already know and really align us to where we need to be and what to do first. And I had a choice just like you had there, when I'm sitting there like, what do I really want to focus all of my time on? The coaching or the real estate side? And the truth is I enjoy both. And so I was like, you know what? It is a really good point though, the way they laid it out, that if you actually made yourself a killer real estate business. I mean, I'm already in the, I'm in the top 1% as it is now, right? But they even go in the top like 0.00001%. And then all the things that you learned to get there, you can teach
Yeah.
back that it's a stronger thing. And it was really just like, you know what, you're right. And I felt like I was doing the agents on my team a really disservice because I was allocating a lot of time for
Mm.
agents not on our team for the group coaching when I should have been
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
them. So a
Yep.
lot of mind bending stuff. On your point about focusing, though, one thing that they really aligned me with, and you can you can kind of share your thoughts, and I hope that you do. Obviously, that's why you're here. Is there was really the first problem that you have is a consistent lead gen source. I think that's everyone's
Yep.
problem. What is the lead gen source that you do? Because in real estate, or a real estate or any high ticket item, it takes a very long time to generate business. So what I've noticed in coaching and being in doing it for so long and being guilty of myself is that we'll see this new thing of doing business and we'll dive in
Yep.
and we'll do it for like 2 months, 3 months, and then we'll get maybe a sale, if that. And you're like, oh, this isn't exciting. And then we do the next thing and then the next
Yep.
thing. And all of a sudden we have like 10 things we're doing 10% of,
Yep.
never nailing one of them. So what I did literally while I was in that event, I had my notebook here about like, they're so right about that. So I wrote down all of the different ways that you can generate business that I know of. I got 12 or 13 of them. And I'm like, this is the biggest constraint on my team. The biggest
Mm.
constraint on my team is that my agents don't know which one to focus on. They're doing
Mm.
so many things. So
Yep.
why don't I sit with them and figure out what they love, and we're focused for each person. Then we created business plans for each one to do that one thing. We'll see how it goes.
That's awesome. And I'm a huge believer in finding a strategy and an approach that fits your personality, your
Yep.
interests, your skills. That's, I don't know if you know, but years ago I started a podcast called The Niche Agent, and that's what I was really focusing on, helping agents figure out a unique niche, because I truly believe there's not one way to do this business. There's 1,000 ways, but it's what's the right way that you're going to do, that you're going to do consistently, that you're going to be able to do and get the results. And it's finding that thing that's like, okay, what am I going to do? Put my time, my passion, my energy into, and really build off of that. You can build amazing businesses with so many different ways, but it's like, pick one, get good at it, and then layer on. And I think that's a huge opportunity that agents miss, because they are looking for the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. Now, I believe that you should layer strategies as well, but figure out something that you can do and crush it, and then start stacking on top of that.
Yeah, they were saying that, and this I think this was a little extreme because maybe they don't know our business all that well. They said you don't pick a second lead gen lever until you're making $1 million per
Yeah.
month, per month.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you realize how almost impossible it is for one real estate agent to do $1 million per month revenue?
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I thought that was, but the point, I think the overall point is like, until you're really mastering it, you don't move to the next. And here's what's really cool about it is that actually Alex Hormozi came on and he made a really good point on this topic. He did about, I don't know, maybe an hour, which was just amazing, being literally like 5 feet from the dude that you've been, Hormozi, right?
Yep. Yep.
He's the guy's brilliant.
Yep.
Right. And anyways, I've listened to his podcasts and I have all his books actually right behind me. I'm a big fan of the guy. Anyways, so in his point, the point that he made was really good was you don't need more things to do. You just need to do more things of the thing that you want to do that will grow
Yep.
your business. So find the first thing that's a really big problem. Find the way that you want to solve it and just do more of that.
Yep.
For example, right? You do farming, the binder farming thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's his more over better over new is so impactful. And I think that's where a lot of agents do it. And they make that mistake, is that they think it's the new thing and they do the inverse. It's the new. Then they're like, oh, I'll make the new thing better. And then they want to do less of it. And yeah, it is the more. And I will add a caveat to that, because I do farming. It's more that's effective. And I think there's a point of diminishing returns, especially with something like farming, where you could do more things in your farm, but by the time you spend that much money and energy, it's not worth doing more new strategies. It's then you either have to expand out or go deeper with it. And then that's where a lot of agents kind of struggle on when to expand, when to go deep, when to add new strategies. And those things all kind of tie in, because there's kind of an art and a science to figuring out when do I expand in my farm, when do I add new strategies, or when do I just do more of what I'm doing? And that is, it's kind of individual to each person, and it's also individual to what they're willing to do.
It's kind of like you were in the room because the big point that he made there was if you focus on this one strategy until you make X amount of money and you're not at X amount of money, what it's going to do is going to force you to be creative and find other ways to add benefits within that lead gen lever.
Yeah.
So, for example, for you in farming, maybe I should do this too, is maybe, you do a newsletter thing and I would love for you to dive it deep and show the audience exactly what you do, of course. But I don't want to steal your thunder. But maybe inside of your newsletter, maybe you already do this. If you're doing short form video content, like for example, today I posted a video about there's this new boardwalk over the Everglades where you can look at alligators, and I posted that today.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that can be like a section in the newsletter, new things in your area, and then a QR code scanning to your video, right? So, and then all of a sudden that video, even though that's not your main lever, you did that video to add to your newsletter, but now that video is getting you traffic too, right?
Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
forcing you to think differently. So, what are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, and I think that's the right approach to it, is creating value without going overboard. And this is, I don't know if you know Jake Dixon, but he's a friend of mine. He was talking to me about it. It's about destructive abundance, where sometimes we add too much, and we're like, we want to give
Yeah.
more value, more stuff, more things. And there's that sweet spot of making sure you have enough lead generation sources, make sure you have enough value that you're providing to your audience, but not going so overboard that you're killing all of your time and energy doing that. And there's a bit of a trial and error of figuring out what's working, what's not working, and then doubling down on it. But yeah, I think the mistake, again, I'm just going back to farming because that's what I know, love, and trust. But I think that a lot of agents, the mistakes they make when it comes to farming is they don't dive enough in any of those things. They don't dive enough in doing enough strategy. They don't dive enough in doing it for long enough. They don't dive enough in the right area, and then they just jump and they bounce. So
Correct.
I've seen a lot of agents, they'll try farming and they try it, and I'm like, well, what did you do? I'm like, well, I sent some postcards and it didn't work.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's really just failed advertising, or you didn't stick with it long enough. So it's really figuring out the area you're going to be intentional with, figuring out what strategy is going to work for you and that farm, and then doing more of it. Where once you get that rolling, once you get the things working, you can then go, okay, what would add more value? If it's what are people looking for? Like what information do they want? What things are they asking for? And this is where being connected to the community, you have so much more opportunity versus a lot of agents where they're just doing transaction based marketing. It's like you don't know what people are looking for. You don't know what's important to people. So when you're connected to the community, you can say, someone says like, this event is coming up, or this cause needs some support. You can now kind of tweak and adjust and go deeper with it when people actually want that.
Yeah. When it comes to, well, there's two different types of generating business. In the farming world, most people lean into one. There's transactional and relationship based.
Mm,
And when you come into the farming world, I get this at my home too. We'll get these postcards, right? And these postcards are usually what has just sold or whatever, free home valuation or
yeah,
something. And it's not warm, it's not building relationships, it's not providing value beyond what everyone else does. You don't stand out. And that's the big
yeah,
problem real estate agents have. We commoditize ourselves where people look at us all the same, where the only difference is what we charge
yeah,
instead of, but I see this as an opportunity as real estate agents that we can go, okay, this is how most real estate agents do things because this is how most real estate agents are taught by other people who are failed real estate agents who are now
yeah,
just telling other people what to do. Now, if we can now take advantage of this and actually provide things that people want, then we're building connections with them where they think of us as people, as they're thinking of us as salespeople, because no
yeah,
one wants to be sold.
yeah,
They
exactly.
don't. So what are some ideas? Like I gave one about, maybe doing some local videos and QR coding it and
Sure.
maybe what do you got? What's
So
some
I'll just say
ideas?
we just did a food drive, and that's one of the things that we've done. This is our third annual food drive, and the impact has been huge. We've been able to do so much, and I'll kind of dissect it if you want. We can dive into what we
Sure.
did. But so we've started with my daughter. She did food drive a few years ago for her youth group at church, and we're like, oh, this would be actually a good thing for us to do in ours. So we built it out, and we just did, I think it was like 1,300 pounds of food we raised. We had 112 people participate in the food drive. And the reason it's so powerful is it didn't take a lot of extra work for us. We were able to go out to the community. We were connecting with people. We added 25 new people to the database. We already have a good database in the farm anyway, so 25 people is a good amount to add. So we added 25 new people. We got 23 people on our neighborhood report that we send out. We were able to now follow up with those people. We send out thank you cards. We were able to make the donation. We made a huge impact. We're getting a news article written about us, and
Love it.
it all did amazing things for the community. They got to feel good about themselves. We got to help restock the food bank's shelves, and it was a win-win-win for everybody. And the reality is, a lot of agents think just transactionally, and they
Yep.
miss these opportunities to get out. We had more touch points than any just single postcard would create. We have more reason to reconnect with people, to further those relationships, and it's just super powerful. And we do a garage sale as well, and that has been extremely effective. We actually are doing a transaction. I hate saying transaction, but we have a client coming in January. We met their mother 3.5 years ago when we did the first garage sale, and her mom said, my daughter's moving here from the other side of the country in Canada. She said, there's no one I'd rather work with than you guys, because I just love what you're doing for the community. And she said, once she's ready to go, she's ready to move back. Or I'm going to refer you. And they're flying in. They've just sold their place. They're out in Vancouver, and they're coming in January 17th. We've got an appointment booked for them on the 17th to take them out to see houses. And that was from a community-based event. And it's like a lot of agents look for that now business,
Yeah.
and they look for the transactional business and miss so much opportunities because they're just looking for that next deal.
Yeah, and if you really look at real estate as a whole, real estate is a relationship-based business. So when people are looking for that now business by sending just 1 or 2 postcards, which are expensive, right?
Yeah.
You're sending 1 or 2 postcards to a bunch of people who don't know you. If someone was really interested in buying or selling at that particular time, chances are they already have someone that's
Yeah.
top of mind, right? It's the consistency over time that's going to make you stand out. But not only the consistency, it's how people feel connected to you as a person. Not always. I know that if you hit the phones and hit the knocking on doors long
Yep.
enough, you'll get a deal. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about scaling. I'm talking about long-term processes of growing a business. You're not going to knock on doors forever. You're not going to cold call forever. You're not going to play the
Yeah.
numbers game forever. I don't know any top producing agent who does that forever. You get to a point where you realize it's a much better way of doing business if you actually give people what they want,
Yep.
connect with people, and they don't, because they're not being sold to. You become Ryan Smith, the guy who does a ton of stuff in our neighborhood. Oh, by the way, he's also a realtor. You
Yep.
become the be also, but also is.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, I absolutely. No, I absolutely love that. What I was thinking about when you were talking too is you said it actually. You have more touch points now because you can increase how much you reach out because you're not just saying hire me. You're saying there's a food drive, there's a garage sale, there's this market opening it up, there is whatever. You have all these different things that you can now reach out and tell people about that's not selling them.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone wins. They get more information. You become micro famous. You get calls to the neighborhood. In your neighborhood, Ryan, how many homes are in there?
We are at this farm. We launched. There's 1,100. My first farm. There was 3,600. We had a lot more.
Yeah,
We
that's a
took a
lot.
bigger
Holy
area.
cow.
So there's
All right. So you have 1,100 now. And I believe you said I think your wife, your girlfriend, or someone runs that
Yeah.
business side of
Yeah,
things.
Nikki.
Okay.
Soon to be wife.
What's the turnover? Good. Congratulations.
Turnover rate. She'd know the numbers better than I would because I'm stepped out of the day to day. I believe it's traditionally there's been. I'm trying to think of the numbers. She's the one that does it. I can tell. Let me go back to my other one. I can tell you the turnover.
Okay.
of my other
Tell me
farm.
what you know.
Typically, I think it's about 5.5%. I think. She knows the numbers day to day because she's in the day to day of that. For my old farm, it was 5.7%.
Okay.
And that was.
That's where you guys get most of your business?
We moved. So we moved an hour away and started over again. So.
Okay. So when did you do that?
That was 4 years ago.
Okay, cool. So now is that where you're getting all your business now from that farm?
So it's slightly different because we have our community, which is Fort Erie, and then the main subdivision we focus on is Crescent Park. So I would say about half comes from the smaller area and then the town as a whole. So now we're expanding and doing what we've done in Crescent Park into another neighborhood. So there's another about 1,100 homes that we're going to be focusing on and doing the same thing.
And you provided binders to all the homes or just people who raised
This one
their
we
hands?
don't, because that was my old school. That was the old farm that
Oh,
we used to
okay,
do the
got it.
binders
So now
with.
it's all digital.
Yeah, we do digital. We're actually shifting back to the binders because we're focusing more on seniors, and we're going to be doing going back to the older roots of the binders for that because it is much more effective.
Yeah, I was gonna say it must be because you actually have a physical thing in their
Yeah.
possession that's always sitting there.
Yeah.
On your binders, would you say that what do you have on it? Is it just like about the community? Not really. Oh, you have one. Look at you. Is
I
it
just have
handy?
the binder itself. I'm trying to find it was looked like this. And then we had a cover page for the area. And then I don't have the content inside because I haven't done it in a bit. But inside what we have was a little booklet. I was just like who we are, what we're doing. We had a cover letter, and then we had the each month we would send the neighborhood sales. So we would print off the sales, and then there was a newsletter that we do. So we do like a 4-page newsletter, and that goes in there. And then we had a hole punched ready to go, and we inserted that. So they could insert, so we would drop them off. So they'd keep the binder, and then we'd kind of give them the inserts each month.
And that would be for hand raisers though, because that can be expensive.
Yes, 100%. And that's I was going to say is that's the big difference between how I teach farming and other people. A lot of people just blast out, mail out things to people who hoping that someone remembers them. Our thing is what we want to do is get people to put their hand up and then focus on those. And that's that key word is focus is we want to really narrow down on who those key people are. So when we were doing the binders, we had 450 people on average out of the 3,600 homes. And then that's the people we would love on. That's the people every month we'd send it to. And we would drop it off and door knock it. My friend Rob, he mails his out every month. He's been doing that for 9 years, and it's just on autopilot now. And he
That's his
just
lead gen.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's
it
super
works.
cool. On the binder itself, let's say if Susie Smith on her dining room table has your binder, and then Johnny Apple comes over and he's not a part of the program. Is there a way for them to scan like, hey, get your own binder, scan here, or how would or no?
We haven't. That's a good idea, actually. I've never thought of that. We could do something like that.
Oh, you're welcome.
What we did was we had it on like open houses. We had a little acrylic sign post with a little scan here if you want to sign up, and we can get people to do it. We
That's a
still
good
do
idea.
that now for a digital one, but from I never thought about that from people at their house to see if anyone has it. But yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, I can imagine because they're probably like, well, I want one of those too. By the way, just scan here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Would you like
We
yeah.
we did do a thing where it was like refer a friend, and then we did like a draw. So if people knew someone that might want to get something like that, so we had people, we had like mothers sending it to their daughters, and then their daughter would get a copy of it, and we did get people that way as well. So yeah, that's a good addition. When we roll out the new version, I think that would be a
Oh, look at
good
that.
opportunity.
See, your time here today was well spent. Just
Yeah.
so all right. So I love it. So some of the ideas that you did a food drive, a garage sale. We were talking about maybe doing short form video that has multi-purpose where you can get them now on your social media feeds. Maybe like I don't listen, this is your jam. I'm just kind of thinking out loud for
Yep.
maybe someone listening would, like these ideas or maybe not. Maybe do it like a family spotlight of the month,
Yep.
see who wants to be
I,
spotlighted.
we do businesses, and that's what I think we talked about last time. Is that's one of the
Yeah.
things that we focus on is highlighting local businesses, and we share what's going on with them, and that has had a lot of impact, and that's a great way to really get in front of more people. Nikki doesn't do them as much. She's a little shy on camera, so she's less opt to do them. But we did one recently with a friend of mine who owns a chocolate shop, and he's kind of fun. It's the chocolate laboratory, so it's like zany and whatever. So she did one for Halloween and did a video just before Halloween, and we promoted it to our audience. But I think we had like 900 views on it, but he promoted it to his audience and then paid for an ad on his end. And there was like 7,000 views on that video alone. And just the collaboration is huge. This is part of the reason why I do like digital, because you can do a lot more with it. You can drop in videos, you can drop in links to things, you can
Yes.
drop in listings. So that's why we had not switched back to the hard copy because of that. There's kind of pros and cons to having
Yeah. I was gonna also
both of
say
those.
though, but in the digital sense, we're so overwhelmed with our emails and all
Yeah.
that. Um, that it becomes too much. One of my things that I'm focusing on, and again, these ideas just come in as I'm talking to you, and you're mentioning digital stuff, was there's a bunch of AI tools that exist that I'm sure can help us in real estate that I'm just not privy to. And actually, when I was on the plane ride to Vegas for the event, I was watching a YouTube about 12, I think it was 12 AI tools to help business owners today.
Mm,
And I'm like, you know what? I really should time block 90 minutes a week in my week to learn some AI
Yeah.
tools and see if it works or not. Even for the worst case scenario, I'll learn something. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And one of them is one I believe it was called Lovable. And I'm
Yep.
telling you this so maybe you can look into it or maybe you already know. But in Lovable, it was like $20 a month, but you can just like ChatGPT, you just text what you want and then it'll create you an app
Yep.
with a link.
Yep.
So I was like, just thinking now, I'm like, wouldn't that be a good idea? He can create a neighborhood app that's digital too, that has all the information that's physical, but also
Yep.
digital.
Yep.
So they can also have it on their app. And maybe there's a way that you can communicate via the app in case they're not reading a newsletter. This is great. All these ideas are just flooding in.
And this
Focus.
is
Don't
exactly,
do it, Chris. Focus on
exactly,
what you need.
exactly. But to that point, I think I'm a big believer in making sure that you're on both spaces, and this is part of my scope method, the thing I teach. And one of the it's the O in scope is online, offline, and you have to make sure that you're in both places because for a lot of people, they're great at one avenue. They're great at
Yep.
online. They're great at online leads. They're retargeting, but then offline, they're missing that physical touch. They're missing that personal connection. And I think having both is important. And doing things that are easily customizable is also important, but also doing things that you can do once and use over and over again. So
Yeah, of
one of the things
course.
that we're about to
Scaling.
do, yeah, is we've got because our we have a tenant we tend to lean into a lot more seniors for our clientele. We've got a few seniors homes that are in the area. So what we're going to do is go record some videos with the seniors centers personally and go introduce them or interview them, get some content, get some information for them. So when we have people looking and saying, well, where should I move to? Well, here's a few videos we shot. Here's some ideas that you can look into. Here's some of the things they've got here's the facilities, here's the resources, here's the costs. And then becoming that resource, and then you do it once, and then you just use that over and over again. And those little things make a huge difference. So last week, actually 2 weeks ago, Nikki met a client who was looking to sell his home, and his family had all passed away, and he wanted to move into a retirement home, and he's like, I don't even know where to start. She's like, let me introduce you. So she met him at the retirement home and did like a pass off to the director at the retirement home and made that connection. Like those little things, it took her 15 minutes to do
Yep.
that, but that thing is so more important than just sending a postcard or just sending a just listed
100%.
them. And so it's tying in those things and making sure those things all work together. That's when you're going to see huge results.
They said and on that point, when again I was at the event, and again, these are not things that we don't know, just things we got to be reminded of. They were saying the two most powerful ways that you can grow your business, well, they used the term LTV to CAC, lifetime
Yep.
value to cost to acquire a customer. The best ways that you can increase that equation is one, by referrals. So meaning if one person tells another person, essentially that person was free. It didn't cost you
Yep.
any money for that. That comes from having a good relationship with your people and just having a good product and a good experience. And the other one I thought was very interesting. It says get famous.
Mm.
And I was like, get famous. So on your point there, it's like when you're making your video content and you're going out there and meeting them, you're becoming famous to that people. What I mean by get famous, you don't have to get famous to the whole
Yeah.
world. Get famous to your subsect that you're focusing on. You can only get famous to that subsect that you're focusing on is if you're focusing on them, right? Instead of
Yep.
if you're not doing 10% of
Exactly.
100 things. So if you're doing your farming thing and you're really spending your time on these 1,100 people, you're not spending your time on I don't know how many people are in your area, on the 30,000 or the 50,000. You're famous to that little subsection by focusing on that. I
Exactly.
thought that was a very, very powerful message in that. And video content is a great way to do that, by the way.
Exactly. And that is why I'm so passionate about farming. And that is like years ago, that's what led me to farming was that. And kind of all signs and all things led to that because I saw I was my past. I tried everything. I moved a bunch of times, like we talked about last time. I moved around and I moved to another place, and I tried Bizbos, cold calling, door knocking, open houses, online leads, everything and anything. And what I realized, I'm like, with farming, you can put all of those strategies on top of each other in one specific area, and those people get to know you more and more and more and more. And rather than try to be in this neighborhood, in this town, in this area, like why not become famous in that area where people
Yeah.
know you, like you, and trust you, and you can stack those strategies on top of each other so that it becomes even more effective. And one of my mantras is I'd rather have 5 signs in one neighborhood than 1 sign in 5 neighborhoods. And so many agents don't realize the power of when you combine that in one area. When people see you and they know who you are and you connect with them, that is way more powerful than just grinding in all these different areas. And when I was doing before I was doing farming, I was doing cold calling, and I called probably I think it was like 50,000
Crazy.
homes, and I called and we called through the whole area. I think it might have been 70,000, something like that. And then I had a few people here and a few people here in my database. I'm like, but no one really knew who I was. No one really
Yeah.
knew what we were about. It's like once I started farming, it's like I can talk to John, I can talk to Sally, I can talk to Susan, and they know who I am and they connect with me. It's like it's so much more effective. It's the same amount of time in the day to do that, but it just becomes way more effective with your time. And that focus is so important because you're able to hyper focus and get better results. And this is the mistake that a lot of agents think they make is that they get the FOMO. They're afraid of missing out, and they're like, well, what I could get a deal over here and I could get a deal over
Yep.
here, and it's like you're just missing out because there's so much more opportunity when you become intentional and purposeful, like you said, famous in your area. It just becomes way more powerful.
Yeah. Well, real estate agents by our very nature, we're very go, 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 high energy, optimistic, like, right. And we like fast things fast. So we don't like doing something for so long and then waiting 6 months for the phone to ring. We like, okay, I'm going to try this now. I'm going to try this now. I'm going to try, and, and I think that's what really became, it's ironic. I grew my business doing one thing. And then as I was coaching and helping real estate agents that who didn't like the way I did business, I started finding all these other ways to
Yeah.
maybe help them. And then I started doing them and then I started spreading myself out.
Yeah.
That was ironic of what happened. So just really aligning yourself with that one path is clear. And you said something really, really smart is that you're doing all these things, but all these different tools can help the one main path you're doing. So if you're doing absentee owners, then why not just focus absentee owners in your farm instead
Exactly.
of everywhere? Why don't you just
Exactly.
quadruple down on that ad spend?
Yep.
Right. Or if you're doing door knocking, then just door knock your farm. That's it.
Exactly.
Right. It's just a smart place. So what I did was I mentioned earlier, Ryan, I wrote down a list of all the different ways that you can generate business in real estate, or the 12 that I was familiar with, third 12 or 13. By the way, if you want that list, just
Yeah.
let me know. Or anyone listening, just shoot me a text. I'll send it to you for free. Um, but one of the things I did inside that list is crossover. Like, so for example, if you wanted, we just said it, farming, it's a lot of crossover things that the other things could benefit from short form video content, from talking
Yep.
head stuff, whatever. So even though you're doing one thing, there's those other things that also generate business. But again, you're hyper focusing on your core people, so you're famous to them.
Yeah.
Just a solid point, man.
Yeah. And it becomes that much more effective. And the other thing too is I would say is people respond to different things. Like, let's say you have a household, you have a husband and wife. One might pick up the newspaper, one might pick up a postcard, one might be watching video, one might be out at a community event, and it's like you don't know how you're going to reach people. So this is where when you reach people in different ways, you're going to connect with people more and get more attention long term. And we have it where like Nikki has a husband on the report, but the wife saw us at the community event, and then she's like, "Oh, I didn't even know my husband's getting the report." Or so it's want to be able to connect with people, and when you're that hyper focused, it just becomes that much more powerful. And like when you can connect and collect information correctly, you can become that much more effective versus a lot of agents, they push out their message and hope that something sticks,
Yeah.
and they're just pushing and then they'll throw something over here, they'll throw something over here, and nothing happens. I'm a big believer in direct response marketing and getting people to put their hands up and following up with those people. Those people are the ones you need to love on. Those are the ones that where you hyper focus on.
Yes.
The people that know you already, get your information, and that's where it's like it's just and it becomes so much easier too. That's what I think. Like once you do some heavy lifting up front to get people into your pipeline, once they're in that world, then this becomes fun. It becomes easy because you're doing things that you enjoy, you're connecting with people, you're creating value, and you're building real relationships. So
You're not selling them. Do you okay, so when people do call, right? When people say, "Hey, Ryan, I want you or your fiance, I want you guys to sell my house." Do you have an offer besides just like what's your do you
yep.
have it what's your offer?
Yep. So we got a couple, depending on, I call them prescription. So I kind of, depending on their diagnosis, we use the prescription. One of our big ones is I call it the Home Jumpstart program, which I created a few years ago, which is basically we'll prep and get you ready. So if you're 2 months out or so and you're thinking about getting your home ready to sell, we come in, we sit down with them, create a full game plan. Okay, what do you need to do? What needs to get ready to get your home sold? And then we create a kind of a checklist for them and then break it down custom to their needs and say, okay, what do you need to get ready? Here's what we need to do. Here's what it is. Let's make it an easy plan for you. What are the most important things? What are the priorities? We take an exclusive listing while we do that. So we're prepping to get ready. Now our rules changed last year. We can't advertise exclusive listings unless it's 3 days before hits MLS. We used to be able to promote exclusive listings. So that
Oh,
was one
got
of
it.
our things where we'd say we'd send it out to our database. We'd do some pre-marketing to kind of get some buzz to see if anyone's interested in it. And then basically it's really designed to help hold their hand until they're ready. So for us, that locks us in 2 months in advance. And then now that we're working with them to get ready, and it's not that much extra time. We have a kind of a standard template we use that we then just customize for each person, and that really solidifies that relationship. And now they're like, okay, let's work on those, and that becomes our touch points up until we go live, where we're checking in, going, hey, how are things coming along with that? Did you need help with this? Did you need to get the contractor? What's the next steps? So we're actually holding their hand throughout that process, and it becomes part of the actual listing
Yeah,
itself.
it's good they say that because a lot of people, even a lot of real estate agents, don't realize that it's not just signing a listing and waiting for the phone to ring to actually do things at a high level. You should commit to helping your clients through the process all the way up into actually beyond closing, helping them file for things like homestead exemptions. Well, I don't know if you guys have
We
homestead
don't.
exemption.
Yeah, no,
Okay, yeah.
no.
But for that, through that, so funny on the third, which is in 2 days actually. Oh my God, today's the first. Oh, that means money went out for bills. Oh, I don't want to think about it. I didn't even realize it was the first. Anyways, I'm on the third in 2 days. We're doing the marketing for a new listing, and I've been talking to this gentleman for, dude, it has to be 2 years now, prepping him. But that's what it takes,
Yep.
and I actually enjoy it. You know, I enjoy it. The worst is, I don't know if you've ever experienced when you've been working with someone for that long, and then at the last moment they get a bug in the ear and they hire someone else.
Yeah.
Has
It's
that ever happened to you?
we had a lady,
It's
she
the
was in
worst.
her 90s, and we'd met with her, and we took her out. We showed her homes. We were prepping to get her home ready, and then her daughter
Yep. It's always that.
brought her agent in. It's like, it is what it is. But
That happened. So we're telling you that, guys, is like if you're really newer to the game and that's happened to you, it's just part of the game. It's nothing
yeah,
personal. You just do the best you can, treat people well, work hard, and the more you do that, the more business you get. All
yeah,
right.
100%.
Yep, that's it. So I kept you for quite some time. Plus, I have 11:30 in 7 minutes.
Okay.
So we're gonna get going. It was nice catching up with you. If someone
Yeah.
wants to learn about you, your training, your coaching, or your business, where can they find you?
Best place is launchyourfarm.com. You can see what I've got there. I've kind of got, when you land on the landing page, it asks you 3 questions. Where are you at in your business? So it's, am I just getting started? Am I farming, or am I wanting to scale? So if you are looking to farm, you can click on those buttons, and I got a bunch of resources and opportunities for you. If you are currently farming and want to grow it, we've got some opportunities for you there. And if you've tried farming and haven't had the results with it, please don't be disappointed. Please don't be discouraged. I promise you there's better ways to do farming. So you can see kind of things we do, the things we teach, and the methods that I truly believe in. So you can go to launchyourfarm.com and check it out.
Launchyourfarm.com. Love it. And for me, if you're looking to buy or sell in Southeast Florida, Homes by Chris Cusimano. Also, coaching as well. I'm doing broker 4-hour classes for free for brokers. You want me to do it?
Nice.
Let me know it. And of course, one-on-one and group coaching is available as well. Just let me know what you like. All right, that's it. Thank you, my man. Nice seeing you, and I'll catch you on
You
the
too.
next one.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.